Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like. Here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. You ain't built for a skirt as a nigga can be. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming for ya. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I come for ya. It's gonna sound like here comes the, here comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that.
What is going on, everybody? We're back, baby. Let's fucking go. Excited to have you with us. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to the Griddy-Iron gang. Oh, it's been on the shelf for way too long. Hope he knows the deal. This is the NFL football show, baby. Welcome, Freddie. Thanks for tapping in. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Happy Sunday. Hope you're having a great start to your Sunday. My name is Sweatpan Jesus. That is Gretzky Betsky. That's Vsauce in the corner. And that is Jess Sook. Excited to have you guys with us to talk all about the NFL, boys. We're almost back. Obviously, there is no NFL action today to discuss, but we've got we were about less than 50 days away from the start of the regular season. We have the preseason in 2 weeks, starting the first game of the preseason, and then we're going to be rocking and rolling. So we thought it would be great to go ahead and bring the show back, get the vibes rocking and rolling, ready to rumble into the season. We've got a lot to get to today. To get back into the be away from Myles Garrett on the screen. That's so funny, fam. Yeah, what's going on, boys? How we living? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah.
Happy fucking Sunday. We're back.
We are so back, baby. We're back. Ready to talk some do the gritty, V. Get us in the mood. Do the gritty. He's not doing it.
There's zero chance. There's absolutely
zero.
No. I mean, we've always got it on tap, so it's okay. It's ready to rumble in the jungle.
I think so goes us a gritty. I'm pretty sure. Last season.
You guys
you owe us a 24-hour stream.
So do you.
Thanks.
You both do.
Way to divert the attention, Sook, from the gritty that you owe us from last season.
Yeah, you guys both owe us a 24-hour stream, so fair enough. All right. the Griddy-Iron Gang will be back every single Sunday at this time. We'll move it up an hour before the start when the season actually officially starts, because obviously we'll have to talk about everything leading up to the start of the slate, leading up to Scott Hansen say live for 7 hours. That will be what finishes our show pretty much. I know. I'm so excited. And as always with the Griddy-Iron Gang last year, this is a chance for you guys in the chat to get involved with the show. You are welcome to join the show at any time throughout the show. You are going to be able today. We're going to be talking about a lot of future bets. So we're going to be looking at some players that we like, some breakout players. We're going to be looking at some breakout teams possibly, and we're going to be doing divisional previews every single Sunday. Obviously, we started with the AFC South. Forgive my bias, but AFC South could be one of the most competitive divisions this season, especially with a lot of changes at the top of the division. And then we'll obviously talk about my lowly Titans a little bit too. But interesting division there. And then next week, chat, whoever you guys would like to have us talk about next, drop it in the comments today, and we will get to it next week when we go into our divisional preview next week. We might talk about some baseball at the end of the show. If you guys have a baseball bet or something for betting the slate today, because there is a big baseball slate today. But mostly we're going to be sticking to talking about the NFL as much as possible. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat. You guys are welcome to join, as I said, at any time. We're going to have a play clock for you guys. So if you join the show, you'll be able to come up on the screen. There will be a play clock. You'll have a little over 30 seconds to pitch your favorite future bet of the season. So get involved with us. Come and hang out on the show. Come and say hi and give us your favorite future bet on the play clock.
We know a bunch of you guys have a whole bunch of NFL futures placed already. Parlays, division winners, MVPs, and there he is. Right on.
And your guys' shit is hitting and ours is probably missing.
Number one member of the community. Feed us, Hovey.
Feed us, Hovey. We'll go ahead and get started with Hovey. Bring him up. I know he literally was pissed off we didn't do the show last week because we told him that we were going to. So we apologize for that. Let's go ahead and get him involved. What's up, dude? How's it going? Welcome.
What's up, gentlemen? It's been a while, but we're back.
It's been a while, but we're back, baby. We're excited to have you back. I know how are you feeling? Before we give your sell job on, I know, right? Before we get your sell job on your favorite future bet of the season when we play the play clock, how are you feeling about your Jets this year?
I mean, if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, I mean, at least to make the playoffs. I mean, to go that far, he's kind of old. I mean, defense is top 5 in the league. Division's still pretty good, though. I mean, the Bills, I'm not counting the Bills out, and Miami, if they learn how to play in good weather, I mean, they can.
You mean in bad weather? But yeah.
Realistically, my expectation is the playoffs. That's my expectation.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, of possibly Davante Adams coming to the Jets. And that being a possible move. Do you think that has?
Are they doing it? Are they making the trade? Don't let him go to the fucking Niners, Hovey. Please, God, don't let that happen.
They wouldn't do it now, because if they did it now, the Raiders would take a $40 million like write-off hit. Or if they did it when the season started, it goes down to like $21 million, I'm pretty sure. So it wouldn't happen anytime before the season starts. The only real way I see it happening is if the Raiders start off 2-5, like something like, which obviously could happen with that team.
You think they'll get 2 wins in the
I gotta be honest. I don't want Davante Adams. I love it. Like, I'm always Davante Adams. Yeah, I just feel like it brings on too much. Like we're giving Aaron Rodgers too many keys to the throne. Where it's like, go out there and show, like, you haven't even played 5 snaps with us. Go out there, do something, and then we'll see if you deserve Davante Adams or not, realistically, before you're out here already going to give us tampering issues, realistically, between both of them fucking flirting with each other over social media.
Yeah. I was not expecting that take necessarily. I would love to have Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson as my number 1 and number 2 wide receiver.
Well, yeah, I want it, but I also don't want. I want him to go out there and prove. Like, we brought in Randall Cobb, we brought in Lazard, we brought in his offense. Like, we brought in all these guys, and the dude hasn't played yet. And then we'll see if you deserve it or not.
Like Lazard and Cobb, Davante Adams. You know what I mean?
I know, but still, it's just more of a. It's just more of how like LeBron in the NBA, where we're just gonna give this guy at least LeBron has rings. LeBron's proved. Rodgers has a ring, multiple MVPs, but once he gets to the playoffs, it's choke season. So let's see what he could do first, realistically.
Okay. All right. Well, should be fun. We'll talk about this division, obviously, maybe next week. We'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna put you on the play clock. You got a little over 30 seconds to pitch us who you are betting for your future this season. Whether is it a team or a player?
Well, I have like numerous that I'm like into, but I'm gonna give you a player prop today.
Okay.
That I think this has too much value on it.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Get after it.
Calvin Ridley, who he was the number one target last year in the end zone with 24 targets in the red zone. Jacksonville Jaguars no longer now have that. So it's going to open up field for numerous options. Head coach Doug Peterson is here with Evan Ingram. Every single year that Doug Peterson has controlled an offense, has been the core of calling plays, has been involved, his tight ends have gone over this number. First year he became an offensive coordinator with the Kansas City Chiefs. Both of their tight ends went over this number. Kelsey, his first 2 years, went over this number. Zach Ertz was getting in the end zone 6 to 8 times a year. Only 2 times Zach Ertz didn't do it was 1 year where he only played 11 games. The other year he only played 6 games. Evan Ingram's first 2 seasons, last season with Doug Peterson went over this number. Last year, we saw Evan Ingram was the second leader on this team in regards to targets. First was Calvin Ridley. No more Calvin Ridley there. The drop-off from Evan Ingram to Christian Kirk was about 60 to 70 targets on the season. Evan Ingram to get into the end zone 4 times. Trevor Lawrence's touchdown numbers like 21, where ETN's rushing one is only on like 7.5, juice to the under. Give me Evan Ingram to get into the end zone 4 times as your starting tight end. It's a no-brainer to me.
Okay. You were kind of Walmarting for a good portion of that, unfortunately, but I think we got the gist of what you were saying. So Evan Ingram over 3.5 touchdowns is the line for the season. I like that. I like that too. Especially having watched him eviscerate the Titans twice last year and probably going to do it a lot more this year as well. Hey, sticking in the divisional preview, you didn't even know we were coming.
I didn't know that. Honestly, I was going to come on with my Lamar Jackson play, but I was like, I don't want to get into the banter with going up against Derrick Henry on day 1. So let me go to a different play.
Hey, that'll be a week 4 cash. I like that a lot. I'm surprised it's 3.5. It's very low.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, dude. Well, good stuff. Like I said, you kind of Walmarted a little bit, but I think everybody kind of heard most of the sell job. So, all right. Well, thanks for tapping in. As always, we're gonna keep it rolling. But dude, football's back, baby.
Love you, Hobie.
Yes, sir. I'll be in the chat, of course. Love y'all.
Love you too, buddy. Take it easy. Have a good one.
Let's go, Hobes.
Let's go. Oh man, I wanted to hear every word he said, and it just kept cutting in and out. So hey, but you guys got the gist. Evan Ingram over 3.5 season-long touchdowns. All right, well, since he started it off, let's go ahead and I'll give our favorite kind of overall season, and then we'll play some blind rankings, and then we'll kind of talk about the AFC South as a whole.
What was Hovey's Lamar play? Because he said I was going to bring the Lamar play, but I'm not sure what he's talking about. Do you guys know? I want to.
All right, well, Hovey, you can come back and you can talk about it if you want to.
If you don't have time, you can just text it to me too. All right, next week.
He'll bring it next week.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
That's hilarious. V waited to ask him a question when he was gone. Very good.
Dude, I was I wasn't sure what's going on with my connection and everything like that, so I'll try not to interrupt. I love you, Hovey.
Okay. Hey, man, it's all good. The sell job will come next week. It's just rushing touchdowns over 4.5. But he'll pitch it next week. So maybe we'll do the AFC North next week. Maybe. I mean, lots to talk about with the Ravens, obviously the Browns, the Bengals, and who's the other team in that division? I just forgot.
It's Steelers.
Steelers, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. I love it. All right, boys. Who wants to go first? Who do you guys want to talk about for your breakout, or a player that you think is going to have a really good season, a future that you're really looking at so far?
So, can
I
we
can
start us
go.
off with Mr. Canada?
Yes, I can go first because we don't even have a line for it because the books are scared. Betsky was talking about Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, the second-round pick, which might kind of scare me off of this Carolina Panthers running back, Chuba Hubbard. When the line comes out, take this. This guy had a good season last year, and now he's got not a lot of competition because the second-round pick, Jonathan Brooks, he tore his ACL in November. So I don't think they're going to throw him into the fucking fire right away. They're going to go with their 25-year-old back that's had a few seasons under his belt. The Canadian kid from Sherwood, Alberta, is going to have a good season. If that line comes out anywhere around 850, 900, I'm fucking hammering the shit out of it. I think he could have close to a 1,000-yard season or maybe over 1,000 yards. But I apologize for giving you guys a Carolina Panthers player prop, but that's what I'm doing.
Hey, man, he cashed for you a lot last year. Yeah, this is the question I was going to ask you. Does Miles Sanders not concern you a little bit?
No, not at all.
I mean, he cashed for you a lot last year. Do you know how many? Did he have 1,000-yard rushing season last year?
No, he did not break 1,000 last year. He had 902, but he almost caught 40 passes. He's good. He's a dual threat. And you guys, if you can remember, Griddy-Iron gang feels like a lifetime ago. But every time they were giving me his yards under 70, I was taking it.
No, 100%. His rushing and receiving yards line was also very good too. I remember that as well. And whatever you think about this offense, they got Deontay Johnson. We'll see what happens.
Bryce Young did not gain any fans last year. He kind of struggled. So I think he's the one guy that's proven to be an NFL reliable back. Obviously, he's not a feature back that everyone's clamoring over, but I think he's reliable. And whatever they give us when we finally get the line, I'm taking it.
Boom. Okay. So there's a future for you guys if you'd like to look into that. They didn't have it available at BetOnline. I don't think that many of those lines have dropped for the Panthers yet, but we still got a few weeks until a lot of these lines are going to really start rolling out. But we've got a lot that are available. Betsky, I know that you have quite a few already kind of targeted based upon you've been doing some articles for us at Betting News about some fantasy kind of value with running backs, but also kind of how you can bet them as well. Who's the one that you want to, who's your favorite of all the ones you talked about?
This one's crept up, and it's one of the ones I haven't pitched on any shows yet too. So let's go with David Montgomery under 8.5 touchdowns.
Ooh.
He is set at 9 touchdowns. He's not only done it twice in his entire career, and one was last season where he had 13. But that was Gibbs's rookie season. That was Laporta blew up, obviously, but I feel like that role will continue to grow. Jameson Williams was suspended for most of a good chunk of the beginning of the season, and I think he's another guy whose role can just continue to increase. That's a lot of mouths to feed, and if Montgomery misses time on top of it, you're just loving it. He needs 9 touchdowns. David,
that's
Montgomery.
wild. Do you think that there will be a kind of because last season it was very much so, I think, a split backfield between him and Gibbs. I don't know the exact carry count, but I feel like some games they would start with Montgomery and then flip series and go back to Gibbs and kind of flip flop it that way. Yeah. Do you think that there's a little bit more of a 70-30 split from leaning towards Gibbs this year? Or do you think that they kind of stick with the 50-50?
I think Gibbs will continue to take more of like a Kamara role. And obviously those seasons when it was Ingram and Kamara, they were both eating, but I don't know. 9 just seems insane to me. And that's again, high. I think there's going to have a larger role for Jameson Williams. I think Laporta is going to continue to grow again. I think he may even get some more action right out of the red zone, where it seemed like they were handing off to Montgomery left and right because he was still establishing himself. I mean, those are 2 rookies that blew up.
Sure.
3 if you count 100%. Jameson Williams, and I know he wasn't like a huge factor, but at the end of the season, they were scheming up more plays for him. So
I think Dan Campbell also was singing his praises. I can't remember, this was probably a couple months ago, about how good he looks and how explosive, and he's back.
Even last time Montgomery had 1,000 yards, he only had 8 TDs. He went under.
Yeah,
last time he had a really good season. So I like
Yep.
it, Betsky.
Yeah. It could be sweaty because this offense has the potential to be one of the top 5 to 7 offenses in the NFL. And usually if that's the case, then there's going to be a lot of touchdowns to go around. But, you know, I like it.
Amon Ra only had 10 last season, which was
That's
his
crazy.
best. But that means
Mhm.
Montgomery had 3 more than him. And then
wild.
I'm pulling up Laporta too. Laporta
I
had
wanna say
10
that-
as well.
What's his touchdown line? Got to be like 6.5 or something. 7.5.
I bet you it's higher. That's the one where
7.5.
7.5.
That's not
is
bad. That's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I think he could have 10 again. So he doesn't get hurt.
I think he could have 10 again too. Yep.
That's wild. Okay. Well, I know, like you said, you've talked about a lot. You've written a lot about different running backs specifically. We'll talk about a couple of the other running backs that you talked about, and when we get to the AFC South preview in a little bit, because I want to get your thoughts on a specific Jaguar. But V, do you have a future bet, or do you want me to go first?
I got a couple. I've got a couple. You just want the receiving one first? You just want the running back? I can talk about the running back later, or do you just want the receiver? Let's go with the receiver because the running back has seemed like a homer block. Sorry. But we're going to go Garrett Wilson. I like his over 1,100 yards on the season and his over 7.5 touchdowns. I know what Hovey was just saying about Aaron Rodgers, but I really have a different kind of feeling. I've always been a big Aaron Rodgers fan till he got super fucking weird. But his on-field play has been fantastic, and you can't really knock his game. You can call him a playoff choker or whatever you want, but a lot, like time and time again, he's been underserved by his weapons. Right after guys like Donald Driver left, and who was the other guy that he played? He had a long career with, not Jordy Nelson.
Well, Jordy Nelson, yeah, but I know who you're talking about.
Greg Jennings.
No, there was another guy.
Anyways.
God. Yeah.
But he had Devontae Adams. He was also there for a little while. He had some really good years with him, but he didn't really have a good team in his last year in Green Bay. And last year we saw him. He had 2 snaps, right? This year he's coming back. We've got Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson has played 34 games in his NFL career. He's played all 17 games in both of his seasons. He has played 17 of those games with fucking, what's his name? Zach Wilson. Zach fucking Wilson. And when you look at the game logs of the games that he has played with Zach Wilson, it is deplorable. 8 targets, 1 catch. 9 targets, 4 catches. 13 targets, 7 catches. He is now going to have one of the NFL's most accurate QBs, one of the best deep balls, and he's going to have a guy that has diced up offenses in the red zone time and time again. We saw Devontae Adams in the red zone weapon that he had become in Green Bay. I'm really feeling the same kind of thing with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's the same type of receiver with great off-the-line skills, great footwork, and he's got great release skills. That's what gets him open. He's not necessarily as fast as a guy like Tyreek Hill. He might not have the hands of a guy like Jamar Chase, but him off the line, he's one of the quickest receivers and the most like Devontae Adams, in my opinion, and that's why I'm loving these receiving props. He had 1,107 yards last year playing with fucking Zach Wilson and whoever else was through that rotating door in New York. Year before that, he played with Zach Wilson and I think Joe Flacco in his rookie year. So this guy has been starved for a good QB. They have been starved for success in New York. Give me Garrett Wilson over 1,100 yards and his over 7.5 touchdowns.
Nice.
So I like that a lot, actually. I think he could be a huge breakout player this year. He's been really good, like you said, but had some very bad quarterback play. I mean, we saw what happened when he had Mike White, who, Mike White's okay, but he was slinging the fucking rock, dude, and he had like 150-yard games and stuff like that. So, if Rodgers stays healthy, I think, wasn't it last year too? I think in like the OTAs or something like that, they were talking about how their connection looked so good. And then obviously, 5 plays in, see you later. But it's going to obviously depend on how he comes out this year and how things go. But I like it, dude, especially for the lower number. It's nice. All right. What's the running back that you wanted to talk about?
The running back that I'm talking about is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is in a fresh situation. He is now playing for a winning franchise. He is now playing for a team that is in the playoff hunt, if not their own divisional hunt. He is going to be playing in place of a guy who last year only played 11 games, Aaron Jones. Now, I know that everybody was super surprised to watch the Packers let him walk, especially to a division rival. in the Vikings. Initial thoughts were that maybe they're making this move because when they signed Jacobs, I thought they were going with this two-headed monster behind Jordan Love because the receiving core was a bunch of rookies, a bunch of younger guys. So I thought maybe bolstering the running back position was what they're doing. But it looks like they're ready to move on from Aaron Jones just because of the injury history. He hasn't played a full season, I think, in 3 years now. Played just 11 games last year, and he still finished almost 700 yards. Josh Jacobs' line is sitting at 925 rushing yards this year, and we know that his name is slipping my mind, but the coach of the Packers, head coach of the Packers, Matt LaFleur, he is a guy that likes to establish the running game because of the way that it opens up the pass game, the way that it opens up play action plays and the deep ball. You got to keep the defense honest. And you see teams like the Giants who are saying things like, you don't want to invest in a $12 million running back when you're paying Daniel Jones $40 million. Now, I know that the Packers don't have the problem of having to pay their QB $40 million right now, but he is on the cusp. He is coming up on an extension. I think at the end of this year is when he'll be eligible for an extension. And if he does put on the same kind of season he had last year, he's probably going to get that extension. It's probably going to be pretty fucking fat. But the thing is Jacobs is going to see the rock in the red zone. He's going to be running behind the best offensive line he's run behind in probably 5 years, and he's going to be playing with a team that has other weapons and a QB that literally that opens up the field. When you can stretch the defense that way, it really opens up the middle for a guy like Josh Jacobs to do work. We know he's a guy that can get yards after contact. We know he can break off big plays, and the Packers have shown how much they like to use their running backs in the pass game. Jacobs has not been known to be a big pass-catching running back until about last year in his career, where he was really kind of gradually adapting into this pass game and becoming an every down back and doing everything he could to help the Raiders win games. Fortunately, they didn't win. He left. And now me and the Packers will reap the benefits. But take his over rushing yards at over 925 rushing yards. I think he has 1,000-yard season this year. I know they've got what's his name in the backfield too, but AJ Dillon. He's a huge fucking freight train coming out of that, but he's going to be a change of pace back more than anything, just like he's always been. That's why they brought in Josh Jacobs. That's why they paid him the money that they did. He's going to have a big role in this offense. Take the over 925 rushing yards for Jacobs.
I mean, this guy led the league in rushing 2 seasons ago. And he's upgraded team, obviously playing for a way better squad than the Raiders. And as Gerald said in the chat, he was trying to troll you a little bit, but the sentiment is still true that they are going to lean on the run game. But like you said, they like the play action a lot. I don't know there's the specifics behind how much they function out of play action in comparison to other things, but I think Jordan Love probably gave them enough of a confidence boost the way he played last year for them to kind of give him a little bit more of the keys, in comparison.
He's a top 10 QB. I'm just going to say it. He's a top 10 QB.
Sure. 100%. I think he has a chance to really pole vault even more into possibly the top 5 conversation if he has a really good year this year. But we'll see.
QB factory in Green Bay, man. QB factory.
What we're gonna do, I like this play a lot, man. I think next week what we should do is cook up the season long entry that we're gonna do for every league. We'll do it for the NFL next week. Cook up a season long entry. So we'll be looking at lines all week. Be sure to bring what you guys like as well in the chat, obviously. And yeah, as Josh said, it's getting me brick the fuck up too. Dude, looking at lines and actually looking at some of these spots and labbing and things like that and actually getting your brain geared back that direction, it's been amazing. So all right, I'll round us out. Was that all you had to say, V?
That was it. Yes, thank you.
Hell yeah. All right, I have 2, and both of mine are obviously in the AFC South right now. I like some other stuff throughout some other divisions, but I'll save those for when we're going to have a lot of time to talk about a lot of things. So the first one is actually not a Titan, shockingly. It's actually a Texan who I think are probably going to be the ones to take this division if everything plays out on paper as it should. Obviously upgraded with Joe Mixon, added lots of pieces on the defensive end, and adding obviously Stephon Diggs as well. I'm going to take a different pass catcher, though. I'm taking Dalton Schultz. I'm taking his over 3.5 touchdowns. It's minus 115. So 4 touchdowns for Dalton Schultz, who is the starting tight end for this Texans team. Now, again, Joe Mixon's here. They added Stephon Diggs. You got Tank Dell and you got Nico Collins. So there's a lot of mouths to feed on this offense. However, Schultz last season, 59 catches, 635 yards, and had 5 touchdowns. As a starting tight end in the NFL his entire career, the last 4 seasons, he's had 4, 8, 5, and 5 touchdowns this stretch. Now, you could say again that he is there's going to be more mouths to feed on this particular Texans offense. You got, Stroud coming into year 2, who's probably going to take progressive steps forward and maybe even be a top 5 quarterback. Maybe he is already. I like it even better though in these situations, which will kind of tie into what I'm going to say about my next play too, is there's more mouths to feed, yes, but that means that the defense has to worry about Stephon Diggs. They got to worry about Mixon. They got to worry about Tank Dell. They got to worry about Nico Collins. I would say that Dalton Schultz is probably 5th on the list of offensive weapons you got to worry about on this Texans offense. And that's going to mean that he's going to have either advantageous matchups with a shorter nickel or a slower linebacker, put him in a lot of really good situations. And he's a great red zone target. So I think the 3.5 is too low. I don't know why it's 3.5. Doesn't make any sense to me, really. So I'm going to take it. I like it a lot. It's -115. That's my first one. And the second one, I've already talked about this with you guys previously. I took it last year. It cashed. Took him a while to get going, but it finally cashed in week, I think 10 or 11. Give me DeAndre Hopkins over 4.5 touchdowns. They set this line exactly the same as they did last year. I got it for -115. Again, I don't know why this line's 4.5. Obviously, Ridley's coming into play for the Titans now, which is going to take away a lot of targets from D-Hop. But D-Hop had over 70 catches and 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns last year on probably one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. Didn't have the benefit of playing with Will Levis for the entire season. Didn't even have a touchdown until he had 3 when they played the Falcons I think week 8 or 9. This line is also too low. When D-Hop has played an entire season, he has only not had 5 touchdowns once. The other 2 times he did not do it in his career, he did not play the entire season due to injury. He had, like I said, last year, over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley coming in, which is what I was saying with Schultz. Additionally, Calvin Ridley coming into this offense, Tyler Boyd coming into this offense, Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears coming out of the backfield in this offense. The last point as well, Brian Callahan now coaching the Tennessee Titans. This team is going to throw the football a fuck ton. There's going to be a lot of throwing the ball everywhere. And I think that D-Hop and Will Levis have the most chemistry out of everybody on this team because there's a lot of new pieces. So I think that D-Hop has a really good opportunity to have 5, 6, 7, maybe even more touchdowns than he did last year because of the defense is going to be focusing on taking away Ridley for the most part, especially on the outside. So, yeah, Dalton Schultz over 3.5 touchdowns, DeAndre Hopkins over 4.5 touchdowns. Those are my 2 favorites so far, kind of circling in a little more on the AFC South specifically. But looking at the lines, guys, of all the different future props that are already out there, there's a lot of stuff that's really enticing. Either yards, props, touchdowns. Did you guys have any thoughts on the couple that I mentioned before we kind of keep it rolling?
Yeah, I was gonna say, SPJ, that about like what you're saying about Dalton and about Hopkins. Like, yes, there are more mouths to feed in both of those offenses, but I feel like when you're talking about a season-long touchdown prop, it's not like we're asking these guys to score 14, 15 touchdowns or like have 800 yards. We're asking them to score 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, or 5 touchdowns, depending on the player that you're talking about. We're asking them to do that over a 17-week period, 18 weeks, 17 games. Now, right? I feel like that's plenty of time, especially now. Yes, Ridley is coming into that offense, but last season we saw it. The Titans had no other receiver for any other defense to kind of worry about outside of Derrick Henry in the backfield. There was nobody on that offense that defenses were kind of game planning for outside of D-Hop. Now, this season, teams are going to have to spend the week preparing for guys like Calvin Ridley because of what he brings to the game, because of his youth and his speed, and the fact that he's not going to be like the number 1 receiver there. But a guy like D-Hop has a nose for the end zone, makes big plays, and like you said, has shown great chemistry with Levis, like he did last season, the Mayo Man, right?
Yeah.
And then same with Schultz. We saw them develop chemistry, him and Stroud last season. And with all of this big receiving core, it could be very easy to just let Dalton Schultz have one of those games where maybe he scores 2 touchdowns, maybe even 3. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When we see those kind of crazy games in the NFL all the time where somebody's holding a Dalton Schultz 3 TDs ticket for plus 9,500, right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens all the time
100%.
in the NFL. One high-scoring game, 148 to fucking 41 game, and it could be fireworks. So I love both these spots, especially for the really low lines.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of a good transition to maybe we can talk a little bit about. I have to sneeze, and it keeps sneaking up on me. We can talk a little bit about the AFC South in general because, like I said, that was kind of our division that we're going to hone in on a little bit. That's an interesting point that you mentioned for taking season-long props, and I kind of talked about it, and you guys mentioned it too with your props as well. Like you got to obviously look at past success, but you also have to look at the situations, either the new situation they're coming into or the other pieces that are going to be around them. But don't be scared if you think that like, they got this star now, they're going to really want to feed him. Like, yeah, but most of the time that means that the defense is going to have to worry about him. And that's going to change a lot of other situations for a lot of other guys too. So let's have a look at the odds for I love that. That's funny, fam. All right, you guys want to dive into the AFC?
Lizard man.
Yeah, that too. Do you guys want to dive into the AFC South now, or do you guys want to do blind rankings first, and then we can talk a little bit about the AFC South?
Let's talk about the AFC South. We were just talking about a couple of players in that division. I feel like it's going to be as much as I like to shit on the Titans, it's going to be a very interesting division to watch all year because this is a division
a lot
that
of questions
plays each other really fucking tightly. Like, you know what I mean? The Titans will lose games to guys like the fucking I don't know, like the Cardinals, but then they'll win against the fucking Texans or the Colts. You know what I mean? It's a fun division to talk about. It's a fun game when these two teams in this division meet up. So, like, what are we thinking here, SP? I know you love the Titans. You want to start there?
Well, yeah. So this is the odds that you guys can see on the screen for the Texans, Jags, Colts, and Titans for this division. Texans are obviously the favorites right now, -115. Jags at +290, Colts +325, and then the Titans rounded out at the bottom at +1100. The Texans won this division last year as in the Titans position. Basically, they were the last pick. They were the least likely via the odds to win the division. There we go. And they ended up winning this division. Lots of question marks, lots of new pieces in this division. I think for the first time in 10 years, I would say all four of these franchises have potential franchise quarterbacks. CJ Stroud obviously being the one that has the highest ceiling and ability right now. Trevor Lawrence, you could argue with that as well, with being a top 10 to 15 quarterback in the league, and he got paid accordingly. And then you got Anthony Richardson coming back after a really good rookie campaign, but then he got hurt, so we don't know what's going to happen with him. And then you got Will Levis, who has now the opportunity to show if he is going to be a guy in the NFL under Brian Callahan. So there's a lot of questions in this division. There's a lot of people that are just kind of saying, it's the Texans to lose, and that's it. And when I look at it a little bit more from a little bit higher lens, I think this division's a lot more wide open than you think. I like the Titans. I'm not going to try to bake it in too much just for the value at +1100. I really feel like this team has an opportunity to make some sort of noise in this division. And if they can, win 8 to 9 to maybe 10 games, things could get interesting. The Texans also have a lot of new pieces. You've got Joe Mixon that came in, like I mentioned earlier. You got Stephon Diggs. You got Danielle Hunter on the defensive side of the ball. You got a lot of new guys coming into this offense and defense. And that takes time. Do they click immediately and it looks great immediately? Sure. But it also takes time sometimes for that chemistry to land. So I don't have a true, besides the Titans for value, I don't like the Jags very much. I don't think that they upgraded enough positions to really make any substantial moves this year. You guys know I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy. And I think their offensive line is still suspect. So I don't love the moves that the Jags have made or the lack of moves that the Jags have made. So I don't feel like that they're going to take any steps forward this year. And the Colts are going to totally hinge upon Anthony Richardson. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on this division. What do you guys think?
I'll defend the Jags for a minute.
All right, go for it.
I already talked about the Panthers, so I might as well talk about the Jags while I'm in the muck of it. The Jags really improved on the defensive end. They got a new defensive coordinator. It was the dude from the Falcons who improved their defense, I think, from 29th to 7th. So I think the Jags really focusing on that. And I was seeing on all books, like for Defensive Player of the Year, Josh Hines Allen is high on every board. So I think that's where the Jags are focusing. They're really kind of relying on Etienne and Lawrence taking another step letting the young guys grow, and they made their improvements on the defensive side of the ball. So personally, if I was going to I'm not going to bet this, I'm not going to do it. But if I was going to take a bet that's on that board up there, I'm taking the Jags plus 290.
I don't mind Jags plus 290 either. Especially because, I mean, this could just be the difference between one win or not. Again, I think as long as Houston plays the same way they did last season, they're going to take it again. But I thought it was really surprising that the Colts had the same record as the Jags too, and 9-8. The Colts didn't feel like a winning team last year.
Okay,
Colts
so
were 9-8.
Yes.
Can I compare on the Colts? That's where I would like to jump in, because this is the team that I'm going to take to win this division at plus 325. The value lies right here. Like you said, they had the same record as the Jags last year, but how many games did Richardson play? How many games did Jonathan Taylor play? Under first-year head coach Steichner, I can't remember how to pronounce his name.
Shane Steichen. First-year head coach. They scored more points. They had a better offense, scored more touchdowns, despite not having their two best offensive weapons. Gardner Minshew held his own last year, but I really think that the health of Anthony Richardson, yes, is a big question mark. But the thing is he's a guy that, like, he's going to be good in this league. I'm not going to continuously bet on something like, what if he gets hurt? Plus 325 for a team that just went 9-8 when they were projected to finish much better than that. They still have a top 5 running back. They've got a great young QB with a great arm who's going to do phenomenal job on the ground. They drafted a great defensive end. He was the first defensive player taken off the board in this year's draft. He's from UCLA, a defensive end. I think he had 12.5 sacks or 10.5 sacks last year, 12.5 tackles for a loss. 13 sacks last year, 10.5 sacks the year before that. He's a great player. And in the second round, they grabbed Adonai Mitchell from Texas. And I don't know if you guys remember from college football last year, but this dude was good. That Texas offense was potent, and he was a big reason why. They got him in the second round to add next to Michael Pittman Jr., to give Anthony Richardson some weapons, to give him a little bit of a better defense. And I think that this offensive line is still a top 5 offensive line in the league. They haven't really lost any players. They've been fantastic. And Anthony Richardson's injury did not come because of too many QB pressures. It came because he was in the open field making a big play. Right now, that's going to happen, and that's going to be a risk. But at plus 325, I just feel more comfortable taking that than taking the Texans at minus 115, despite all the moves that they made, despite everything. Because, like you said, they're a team that overperformed exponentially last season, right? With teams like that and with guys like that, like CJ Stroud now coming into his second year, you never know when there's going to be a bit of a slump, a little bit of regression, and like you said, a little bit of a feeling out process. Stephon Diggs is, yes, a great wide receiver, but we got to think about the kind of things that he was doing in the locker room where him and Josh Allen, like, it was always kind of is there something going on between them? But they would always pretend like they're like really good friends and things like that. But now with everything going on, you can see his visible frustration on the field. If he doesn't get the ball, because now he's got guys like Nico Collins and Tank Dell, who are both younger, in my opinion, a little bit more spry at this age too, with the way that they've been playing compared to the way he's played the last 2 seasons. Is that going to be something that's going to have to be taken into account? Is his attitude going to be an issue? And what about this Texans defense? Have they gotten any better? Because that was a place where they had trouble last year in terms of stopping the other team. It was always CJ Stroud at the end of game having to pull out heroics kind of to give this team a shot to win. I really like Colts at plus 325, and I think that they could win the division this year.
The Colts were built to be a contender just a couple of years ago when Luck was still in the league.
Yeah.
Like, this was a team that was like trying to win it all with a potential generational quarterback that just wasn't able to make a career of it.
Yeah.
9-8.
100%. Well, and that's the thing about this division last year, and that's the reason why the Texans ended up winning it, was because the Jags were obviously everybody's darling last year going into the season to win this division, and they didn't do it because they fell apart a little bit. Lawrence obviously got hurt. They didn't quite perform the way that people thought they were going to. The Colts lost Richardson, still were able to kind of tread water with Gardner Minshew, but this division just got dragged into the mud, and the Texans just kind of, snuck in there and won a couple of games that they got on the right side of. And CJ Stroud obviously proved that he has something to say about it. But I think that people are buying way too high a stock on the Texans this year. I think that obviously on paper they look like the best team in this division, but I think that we always are so quick to crown people as elite, right? We've talked about this a lot last year and a lot of other categories in other sports too. We've seen literally 17 games of starting football from CJ Stroud. That's it. That's all. Have they been great? Yes. Have we seen great decision making? Yes. Did they win a playoff game? Yes. Did they do all of these things? 100%. But we haven't seen a big enough sample size yet to say this guy is truly elite. We have seen enough to say that he has the capabilities to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I want to see it again for another season first before I crown this guy a top 5 quarterback. So I think that there's a lot of question marks up and down this list. And I think the Texans have just as many as all the other teams do. Betsky, do you want to talk about, before because I am going to talk a little bit deeper about the Titans, since you guys all talked about all the other teams. Did you want to talk about Etienne a little bit? Because I know you have some future stuff on him.
Yeah, sure. Kind of going back into the idea of the Jaguars. I really like Etienne for both his touchdowns and his yards for the overs. His yards were set at 1,000, and let me just pull up his stats. And I believe his touchdowns were. I may need to pull this up 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, 1,000 yards last year, 11 TDs, 58 receptions.
I'm trying to think what his touchdown line was, though. It felt fairly low, too.
Wasn't it 7.5?
That's what I was thinking, but that sounds crazy to me.
I think it was, though, because there was a couple of question marks with the Jaguars last season. Not question marks. Just everybody was asking, is this team going to actually play that well? Plus, he didn't have that many touchdowns early on, did he? Right? He kind of picked up later on in the year, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get it. I have it right here.
That's
no touchdowns. No touchdowns until week 8.
Yeah, see?
He made you wait.
Yeah.
Made you wait
sorry,
patiently.
that's receiving.
Oh.
Okay. I was about to say,
he had a touchdown
rushing
week 1.
touchdowns.
Yeah, I was going to say he had a touchdown week 1 and then went cold for 3 games. But then he had 3 multi-touchdown games in a row.
He really picked it up after that.
Yeah, hasn't had under 1,000 rushing yards in his career, which is only 2 seasons right now. But the other pieces, there's really no depth there. I mean, they drafted Tank Bigsby last season, and we just didn't see anything really from him. I think the Jags have slightly improved that O-line, and just, it wasn't anything massive, but I think this was a team that was in a little bit of regression last season, and I do think there's going to be some questions on the receiving threats now, but they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., who was phenomenal at LSU, and if he can kind of establish himself to be that third receiving threat and then grow into the second one, then that's going to get a little bit dangerous. Gabe Davis was brought over as well. He's been kind of up and down, but maybe he finds great chemistry with Lawrence as well. I think Etienne, as long as he stays healthy, is going to have another huge season.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's great that we're having. See, now you guys aren't making fun of me too much for talking about the AFC South, because this division is going to be very wild, I think, this year. Yeah. All these guys obviously play each other twice. Actually, Mid-Major Matt came in our spaces a couple of days ago and asked. We were talking about this because he was asking me about the Titans, and the AFC South plays the AFC East this year. Because how every division plays another division, like every team plays each of those teams. So the AFC East, so we'll have the Dolphins, the Bills, the Jets, and the Giants. No. Yes. No. That's the NFC East. Who's the other team in that division? I just totally forgot. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Jets, and
the Patriots.
Patriots. Thank you. Patriots. Sorry. So those are the 4 teams that this division will be playing as well. So. All right, I'll give my pitch on why I like the Titans at plus 1,100. I already took this. I did bet this. Just A, for the value. B, I'm going to be watching every game as a fan of this team. But I really like the pieces that they did in the offseason. Obviously, bringing in Brian Callahan as the head coach of this team, totally changing the guard of this entire franchise, and also changing the direction of this franchise. The Titans are building a brand new stadium in Nashville that is hopefully going to host a Super Bowl in the next 10 years. All of the pieces that will be at, exactly. All of the pieces that this team is doing right now is planning for a progressive and fantastic future. Whether that plays out this season, probably not. But they're making all the right moves to move this team forward into 2024 and beyond. Whereas before, with Mike Vrabel and past offenses, this team has been a ground and pound and rushing attacking offense for the past 10 to 15 years. Not been a lot of exciting football. There was the one season where Ryan Tannehill had a good year and A.J. Brown took over the league and Derrick Henry was an MVP candidate. But that was about it. This year, this team is going to throw the ever-loving shit out of the football. Will Levis is going to throw the ball a lot. This was a West Coast style offense that Brian Callahan's bringing in for the Titans. They're going to throw the ball a lot. You're not going to see a lot of very big, heavy sets. It's going to be a lot of spread offense. It's going to be a lot of wide out, like a lot of, not a lot of 2 tight end sets, which is what the Titans got used to for so long. So you got Tajay Spears, you got Tony Pollard, you got Calvin Ridley with something to prove, with the chip on his shoulder. You got, as we talked about, got D-Hop, who's coming in off of a 1,000-yard season and 7 touchdowns, who didn't look like he lost a step last year. You got a couple of decent tight ends, and you upgraded the offensive line, which this offensive line was one of the worst offensive lines in football last year. The left tackle position has been an absolute travesty since Taylor Lewan retired, and they haven't found anybody that wasn't a revolving door. So they drafted J.C. Latham, hopefully to shore up that position, and they also got Lloyd Cushenberry, who's one of the best centers in football, to come in to stabilize this offensive line. So Will Levis has more than 2 seconds to throw the football and actually make some solid decisions. All of those things to say, if this offense plays out the way that it could with the pieces that they have, there's an opportunity that this team could surprise some people. They also upgraded their secondary. I think they have a top 5 secondary in the NFL now with Ladarius Sneed, Awuzie, and Roger McCreary. Their linebacking core is a little bit suspect, but the upgrades that they've made at the wide receiver position and the cornerback position and the upgrade in philosophy, a lot of people are going to underestimate the style of play that this Titans team is going to do purely because they've never seen it. This is all going to be new stuff. There's no tape to look at. There's no things that they can base off of. It's not like, they're going into the game going, all right, we're stopping Derrick Henry and that's it. What are we doing next? They don't have that anymore. So I think a lot of teams are going to underestimate what the Titans are able to do. If Will Levis comes out and doesn't look like absolute shit and actually can throw the ball where it needs to be, make good decisions, and have good decisive decision making, this team could win some games. So for the value, give me plus 1,100. With you guys talking about all the question marks around this division, I'll take a plus 1,000 flyer on a team that could possibly win 10 games, and maybe even that's enough to win this division. So yeah, that's my overall take. I won't bore you guys anymore because I know I could go on for hours about that specifically. But I think we all had good things to say about every team in this division specifically. There's a lot of value, I think, in this division. If you guys are looking at the line in this division, Chad, if you guys are checking things out, I mean, the Texans at minus 115. Yeah, sure. Go for it if you want to. But I think the value lies on the Jags, Colts, or Titans. Like, if you like one of those teams a lot, that's great value. And as Hobie said, nobody that was the favorite to win this division over the last 5 seasons has won this division. Maybe once, but that's about it. It's never been a runaway favorite to win this division. So definitely some good value in this one. We'll talk about some more as we get closer and closer into the starting of the season. Did you guys have any more thoughts about the AFC South or anything you wanted to add in before we keep it moving?
I had one last question about this division. What do you guys think about Nico Collins? His line for yardage on the season is only 1,000. Obviously, with Mixon and Diggs, they're thinking that he's going to go down. But Nico is a big dude with crazy big play potential. I don't know why that 1,000 yards is looking fucking tasty. What do you guys think? Or am I going to get trapped here?
I
On
surface, it sounds all right, but yeah, it just is like there's so many questions. I mean, even with Tank Dell.
Yeah.
I think that there's so many mouths to feed, like like I was saying with Schultz earlier, right? Like, because I was looking at all the lines for this team, thinking like there's got to be something nice. If anything, I actually liked Joe Mixon's receiving yards. His receiving yards line is 300. He's hit that in his last 3 seasons, obviously with the Bengals, totally different. But if you guys remember last year, there were certain weeks that we were talking about Mixon as a receiver because he was being used by the Bengals offense because of his ability to catch the ball on screens and things like that and take some to the house, et cetera, with the yak ability. Kind of similar to what I was saying about Schultz. The defenses are going to be planning for Diggs, Collins, Dell. I don't think they're really going to account for Mixon out of the backfield that much. And CJ Stroud's going to be throwing the ball a lot. So I like that. The 300 that's one that I was looking at because I was scared of Collins, Dell, and Diggs because we just don't know how that mix is going to work.
Out. Yeah. Nice. I like that look.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
like
bet
that
it.
more.
I haven't bet it, but it was something I was looking at and seeing, like, you know, his receptions look nice too. I think that if he stays healthy, there's a very good possibility that he could have a huge season. We're talking about the AFC South, Chew. Welcome back. Chewy. All right, guys, we have a guest. Love it. If anybody wants to join the show, please feel free to. You're welcome to. The link is in the chat. Come and pitch us your favorite play of a future bet. You can be in the AFC South or it can be anywhere across the NFL. So if you want to get involved, feel free to come up and give us your play. Try to keep it. I was going to play the music, but I think the music kind of fucks up the audio for the listeners. So
yeah,
we'll try to keep it tempo and pace as much as possible. But let's bring up Rusty, old man. What's up, Rusty? How's it going,
Rusty?
Good, gentlemen. How are you today?
Good,
Spectacular, buddy.
Nice. Hey, I'm actually in the initial NFL research stages, but
Sure.
I was doing some research and I wanted to bring up a very, very interesting stat that's happening this year that has not happened previously. So right now, this year, 4 games in 17 days has only occurred 5 times in the last 5 years. Guess how many times it's occurring this year?
3?
7.
Holy
7
shit.
teams impacted this year by it. Browns,
Whoa.
Dolphins, Steelers, Falcons, Chiefs, Jets, and Ravens. Now, I bring these up. I know you're doing the AFC South, and I've been busy with family stuff. Sorry, but if you've not done the AFC North yet, this is a very interesting thing. You have the Browns in there, you have the Steelers in there, and you have the Ravens in there. These are 3 teams that also have the 3 of the hardest ranked schedules in the NFL this season. I am fading them, and I am going hard probably on the Cincinnati Bengals to have a bounce back year off of all of the injuries. And so that's going to be my play that I throw to you guys is I'm big on the Bengals, low on the rest of the NFC North.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I know
That's
V
awesome,
likes
dude.
that.
I love that.
I know V likes it.
QB. I'm so pumped to hear it, Rusty.
All right.
Go.
We're gonna talk about the AFC North next week. I think we just decided because that all of the things you just said are very interesting. There's a lot of talking points in this division from the Browns' perspective. Obviously, Lamar and the Ravens with getting Derrick Henry, and as you mentioned, the Bengals with Joe Burrow coming back after missing most of last season. Possibly a little bit new of offensive style, losing Brian Callahan, who was the offensive coordinator, is now with the Titans now. But see what happens with that. I love it, dude. Great stat too. For anybody listening in, that's really good to look at. Is that because of Christmas? Did you look at the reasons why the scheduling was? Like, what was the reason for that? Do you know what it was?
I have not seen the exact reason of it. I mean, to give due credit where it's deserved is, but Warren Sharp. I don't know if you guys have heard of him at all.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I love his book that he puts out every year. So I got all of that analysis. So I'm just kind of like reading through that. So that was one of his articles this year. And he was also talking about how big rest days and rest day advantages. He did a lot of analysis on that last year, like just how much that matters. So there's going to be more into that, but certainly I was shocked to see it. Like the 49ers last year, I think they had 3 games where they had a rest disadvantage to their opponents by a day or more. Right, or maybe 2 days or more, and they didn't cover the spread in all 3 of those games. I think they even lost 2 out of 3, and they were favored in all of them. So rest days in the NFL has caught my eye this year, and just seeing how much it actually matters when you're in the midst of a season. So,
well, I think that the NFL is probably going to be looking at that closer and closer too, with the rumblings that they're going to expand to an 18-game season soon. So I'm assuming that they're looking at the science behind recovery processes. Can these players really perform when they have less rest time, which is why they what's up, Matt? Which is why they are probably throwing that in there as well, just an additional feature. But did you get the Bengals? What was the
suck for fantasy? Give them an extra bye week if we're going 18. You know what I mean?
So we talked about this on one of the shows. Joe Burrow actually made a decent point about this, saying that if you have 18 games that you're playing, you get 2 bye weeks, which moves the NFL season back another one. You make one of the bye weeks exactly the same in the middle of the season. Put the Pro Bowl in that gap, and then you have another bye week spread throughout the season for different teams. It moves the season 1 week later, which then the Super Bowl would fall on President's Day weekend. So Super Bowl Monday would be a national holiday.
Oof.
It all made a lot of sense. So
That sounds perfect.
The math is mapping.
Yeah, Monday off is so needed, So, anyway.
It really is.
Yeah. All right, Rusty. Well, thanks for the nuggets, man. That's fucking awesome. We'll see you next week. We will talk about the AFC North and look forward to having you back next week to pitch us some good stuff. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Let's go,
Take it
Rusty.
easy. Let's go. Love it. Chat that.
In his kitchen so he could cook some more.
Yeah, so he could cook some goods for us. If you guys,
Bengals are plus 165 to win the division.
What's their win total? Is it 9.5? Anyone know off the top of the dome?
Ooh, that almost feels. Let me see. That feels really interesting. 10.5 minus 134.
Pretty juice.
10.5 makes more sense.
I mean, we talked about Burrow a couple days ago, and B thinks he's maybe the best quarterback in the NFL besides Mahomes. And if he has that type of season again, they didn't lose. They lost Tyler Boyd, obviously, but Jamar Chase was also hurt last year. People forget that too. He was banged up for most of the season. Obviously, Burrow missed a lot of time, but yeah, this team has a chance to really come back, and especially with what Rusty just said, that's very interesting. Okay. Any other thoughts, boys, before we look at play some blind rankings?
No.
I'm glad that Rusty just gave me a reason to bet the Bengals, though. I was looking for one, and now I got it.
now you found it, eh? Chat, there's the link in the chat. If you guys have a play you'd like to discuss with us, a future bet of any type, season long, obviously either a team or a player prop. Doesn't have to. We were talking about the AFC South a little bit closer today, but we talked about a lot of stuff. So if you have a play you want to throw out there for us, please get involved. Come on the screen just like Rusty did, and give us your play. We will do that every Sunday as Griddy-Iron Gang is back, baby. All right. So blind rankings. We've been doing this on all the shows over the last few days. It's been fucking awesome. So we're excited to do it with you guys again today. We have 2 for you guys. I have 1 and Sook has 1, both NFL related. What we're going to do is 2018 NFL draft. So last week or the couple days ago, we did the 2017 NFL draft. The way the blind rankings game works is I'm going to read off 9 players that were drafted in this 2018 draft. And as they come up one by one, these guys are going to have to rank them. You guys as well in the chat, get involved. Drop where you think they should lie as they come across. You cannot move the rankings when they sit in their position. And obviously you do not know who I'm going to say. So don't go Googling who was drafted in this draft. Just listen and let's have some fun. You guys got any questions?
Is it just offensive players or offensive and defensive?
Just who was drafted. So offense or defense or special teams. Special teams, special players.
So we can do a kicker at 1.
If you wanted to, sure. Sure. I will give you this. There are no kickers that I'm going to read off to you guys. So,
Okay.
Yeah. So
fucking drafting kickers, you might lose the keys to your franchise.
I mean, there have been some, dude.
I've never made it out of NFL fantasy draft without taking a kicker B. I've never done it.
Don't follow NFL much. I'm just here to see V and the guys. I love how I threw in the and the guys. So I didn't get the.
You don't even make them feel better. Screw them. I love you.
Get him out of here. I'm just kidding. All right. Chat, are you ready? Boys, you ready?
Let's go.
All right. First up, DJ Moore.
Oh.
DJ
I
Moore.
don't know who was drafted in this draft class. Like,
Yeah, me neither.
I had a clue.
This is the one with Baker. This is a crazy draft.
You shouldn't have told this was Baker's draft class.
We got to keep number 1 free and open, boys.
I think DJ Moore.
There's 2 other QBs.
DJ Moore's got to be 3, right?
Number 1 and 2.
At least.
There's 31 other QBs in the NFL, Betsky. I'm still taking Baker.
I think Ridley's in this class. There was one good. Oh, Chubb is in this class.
Okay. So DJ, should we go 4? 5?
I like 3 or 4.
Well, then I'm not even bringing up defensive players.
Fuck.
which I'm going to have a harder time remembering because this is like all
Okay, so we'll go
fantasy
with
perspective for me.
Four seems comfy for DJ Moore.
I would go lower.
Lower? Okay.
I would go lower. I absolutely would go lower. I would say maybe 6.
6.
6 or 7 from Winter Go Home. Prindy 7, Hobie 5, Josh 4.
Let's put the difference. Go 6, like Besky said.
Sure. Let's do it.
6.
6.
All right, DJ Moore at 6.
Killing my
He
boy.
may be the top receiver, but
Okay.
if he's the top receiver, then I mean, it kind of says a little bit
I
about
trust
the
you,
class.
Betsky.
All right. Vita Vea.
I don't have a good read on his game, so Betsky, you're gonna have to lead the charge. Is Betsky
What? Who
frozen?
was it? I'm sorry. I
Vita
missed it.
Vea.
Vita Vea.
Oh.
Higher or lower than DJ?
I would do lower. I'm just thinking how much.
I think he was an
Give it an
All-Pro. Definitely a Pro Bowler.
5 or 7 from winner go home.
I'm
Josh, you said
fine.
8?
I think I'm fine with 5 or 7. I'm just trying to think of like how
Let's
many
do 7
players would have ahead of him. I
Kobe's
can name.
5.
I can name at least. I say 5. I say 5.
All right.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
I feel like Shaq can mostly agree that 5 is a good spot. He's got a ring and he's a monster.
Yep.
That is true. He
Yep.
is a beast. I think he was an All-Pro.
Yeah.
Can someone confirm me? I think he was an All-Pro. He's the best. I would say he's the best nose tackle in football. Bar none. All right, let's go Vea here. So Vita Vea 5. Okay. All right. Next up, Josh Allen.
1.
Oh.
1? Yeah, best
One.
draft class.
Yeah.
On the plums with Betsky, let's go 1.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
no hesitation at all. Like, that
No,
was straight
0.
Plum top.
One?
There's
More than a
maybe
1.
one other person that you could put ahead, but
I'm not mad if he's the top of the
I'm
board.
not mad if he's up there, number
no,
1.
it would be debatable.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, Josh Allen.
3 or 4 from winner go home.
I kind of
That's
feel that way
low.
too, but I'm not a big Josh Allen guy. All right,
And
next
he's
up.
made that. He turned that team completely around
Oh, for
in
sure.
the course
He's
of 2
great.
seasons.
Yeah, he's spectacular. He's just not my favorite quarterback.
And division championships mean something in football too.
True.
How would you
Never-
feel if you
he's-
put
yeah.
mayo in his coffee?
But
Playoff wins too.
Mahomes keeps blocking him.
Yeah, like
he
that's
gets
literally.
cock blocked every single
If
season.
if he didn't lose to Mahomes, he'd probably have been in the Super Bowl like 3 times by now.
Yes.
Oh, trash.
I think he's a little tad overrated, but he is still amazing. But all right. Calvin Ridley.
I would go 8 or 9. I would go. You can't forget how good he was when he first hit, but then has not been
He was
able
good
to get
last
back.
year, too.
Then he got caught hanging out on our show, and got kicked off out of the NFL for a year.
But he came back last season when everybody thought he was going to lose a step and fucking went bonkers.
I bet his under yards and looked like he
He
barely
signed
did,
with your
but
team.
I know. Now I have to be a fan. He looks good for everything
Yeah,
I've seen.
he does. Like I
but,
would be comfortable like 7, 8.
There's another QB that you would take above him if he gets offered. This is Chubb's year, who would be the top running back, and overall, I think Chubb has probably had a larger impact on the team that drafted him
Mhm.
than Ridley. So there's
Yeah.
2 more offensive players I would put ahead of him.
You guys
I
pick
think-
7 then?
7 or 8 is good.
I feel like 8 or 7. Yeah, I don't.
Do 8.
Let's do
Yeah,
8.
just in case we get in there another like defensive or O line guy that we want to put ahead.
Word.
All right. Ridley's 8. Next up, Saquon.
Oh, duh.
2 or
3?
3?
3.
I would not 2, maybe 4.
4?
I think
4?
Chubb has been.
4 seems a little low, but I'm down with 4.
It does, but the team just hasn't had that much success. And when
That's
Gamble is right, or win or go home's right, the Jackson's in this draft. Lamar is.
Okay, let's go 4.
4.
Because we got Chubb
4?
over Saquon, right? All of us?
Yeah.
I
That's
think
right.
I would. I mean, Chubb's
I
had
would
like,
too.
More
So
reliable.
Saquon.
even
at
though
4?
I mean Saquon could have easily been like number 2 on this
It's
list.
really
had
not a
things
knock on
worked out.
Saquon. It's just not
No.
many guys run like Chubb. Like nobody runs like that dude does.
And Barkley's missed more time than Chubb,
Yeah.
right? Outside of last season, obviously, but Barkley's
Yeah.
missed the season.
Yeah.
Matt. Okay. Saquon at 4. All right, next up. Mark Andrews.
Oh man,
7 or 9? Because we can't put him 2 or 3.
I wish I could put him at 6 here. I wish I could put him as the top receiving player that we've seen so far.
Then just
Throw him at
slot
7
him in
then.
at 7 then.
Then 7's fine. 7's fine.
Yeah.
And you could still make the argument for more. But
All right, 3 left. Fred Warner.
Fuck. I don't know if he's 3, but he's not 9.
I know.
Just do 3 then. 9
I know.
from Josh.
Dude, it can't be 9. It's the best linebacker in football.
Yeah.
It's just
I'm
3.
fine with 3.
Yeah.
I
I
hate
don't
this game.
hate it, to be honest. I like it. He's been the fucking centerpiece of this like Niners defense that has been elite like every single
Yeah.
year. Right? Like I know they got Bosa up front, but he's the centerpiece in the middle, directing traffic, watching, making reads, making adjustments, everything like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
all
I
goes
mean,
into the team.
realistically, I would put him lower, but you can't now. So,
Like,
and
but, like, yeah.
there's still potentially Lamar to take 2 or Baker.
We gotta put Fred Warner at 9 because definitely Lamar's coming out or Chubb. One of the two, maybe not both.
I would
One
put
of the
Warner
two.
above Chubb though.
Oh man, this is so hard. I'm with chat though. Like if it's the other 2 guys, it's gonna look weird if we put them at 9. Lamar guys.
Lamar's. We have to save 2 for Lamar.
If we get Lamar and Chubb back to back at the end here, SPJ is diabolical.
I am fine
Fuck.
with having a running back be number 9 here, though. If
But are
just
you
because
fine
of
with that being
the
Chubb?
situation. Yeah, I mean,
Let's go with Fred Warner at 3 and see what the fucking
Yeah, I'm
SPJ's
with
got
you.
in store for us.
All right. I agree with you guys. 3.
Warner 3.
What's next? for
yeah,
SPJ?
but you know, with the
He was drafted in the
asterisks.
he was drafted in the 5th round. Crazy. Or the 4th round.
Wow,
4th or
that is
5th.
nuts.
Yeah, steal. All right, next up. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, boom, 2.
Bing bong.
Now we're getting
And
Chubb.
I agree with Mom Martinez too. You could make in the argument that he's ahead of Allen, but
I agree with Ma what he's saying. He would be called a running back. That's hilarious, though. I still think that both Lamar and Josh Allen game is great, though. Lamar doesn't show up in the playoffs, though.
Stop
Yep.
V.
Yep.
He does
He
not.
doesn't.
I mean, at Betsky, am I wrong?
No, I mean, if you're just looking at team success, that's why I would put Allen above.
2 MVPs, but how many playoff wins does he have?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's all that's all that matter, really, in that particular position. It's championships.
Yep.
All right, so your number 9 spot, Nick Chubb.
Bang.
Diabolical.
Nick
Ridley,
Chubb.
I would have put Ridley at 9.
Yeah.
Fuck you, SPJ. This was a crazy draft too.
Isn't
I mean,
it?
2017 was nuts, but this one's also fucking wild. Baker went number 1, Saquon directly after him. Vita
Josh
Vea was top
Rosen was
5.
number 3, right?
Yeah, sorry, Josh. Yeah, Josh Rosen was 3.
Oh wait,
Great.
no.
Let me look at it.
No, it went. Wait, no. Let me try. It went
Okay.
Baker, Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, and then I don't know. I think Josh Allen was more in the mid at first. Lamar Jackson was in I believe the top of the second round or like the last pick of the first.
No, he was the last pick of the first. Yeah. So Baker, Saquon, Darnold,
yeah,
Denzel Ward, Bradley Chubb, who I had Bradley Chubb on the list originally, but then I kept going and I was like, holy shit, we got to take him out. Quentin Nelson, all-pro guard. Josh Allen at 7. Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith was badass, is badass still. Mike McGlinchey, Josh Rosen, Minka Fitzpatrick, Vita Vea, Deron Payne, Marcus Davenport, Colton Miller, Tremon Edmonds, Derwin James, Jair Alexander, Van Der Esch just retired, Frank Ragnow, Billy Price, Rashawn Evans, Isaiah Wynn, DJ Moore, Hayden Hurst, Calvin Ridley, Rashawn Penny, Terrell Edmonds, whoever the fuck that is. I've never heard of that guy. Haven Bryant, Mike Hughes, Sony Michel, and then Lamar at the end where they traded up to get him.
Where's Nick Chubb?
He was like a second round pick.
Top of the second round.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Right there. They traded up for it.
He's like the best running back in the game right now.
One of, yeah. Coming off injury, though, we'll see what happens. Christian Kirk was in this draft.
Yeah. But yeah, the receivers aren't like.
Let me see where Warner is. Yeah. Warner was mid third round. Pick 70.
Royce Freeman. I drafted Royce Freeman over Nick Chubb in the dynasty draft.
Look at Mark Andrews too. 86th pick, middle of the third round. Crazy.
I heard that, Betsy. Don't worry. That was super sad.
it's pain. Because that was back when Carlos Hyde was still on the Browns and maybe someone else. And I desperately needed a running back that would be starting. So I was like, I'm going to take the guy that has a clear path to be the number one running back on the Denver Broncos. And I took Royce Freeman over Nick Chubb.
So
God, it sucks so bad.
Reason number 672 why none of us would make good GMs in any of professional sports.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In fairness, Rashard Penny, I think, went third overall, and Ronald Jones went above Royce Freeman and Chubb too. The running backs in that class were so hyped. And then the only one that actually made it out is Chubb.
Well, same Mark.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. It just kind of.
So, what do you guys? Yeah, sure. What do you guys think about this list? What would you move around?
Everything.
Yeah,
I think 1 and 2 is good. I think their last or 6 through 8 is pretty fair. You may just need to bump them down because you're putting Chubb up. But I would probably put those 3 receivers in that order. You could make the argument that Andrews should be ahead of DJ Moore. But I don't think any 3 of those are as impactful on the game as Saquon or Chubb were, right? So then it's really just popping in Warner and Vita in the correct spots, kind of more in the middle.
If you put Chubb at 3 and push everything down, it's still a pretty solid list too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't hate Warner at 3, just with what he brings.
I don't either.
You know, he's an all-pro linebacker, so I don't hate him there. But
Vita may have needed to be like at 7.
Yeah, a little lower. But he's really good too. So
I know. Yeah. I mean, you could put him at 6, Chubb at 5, and pretty much keep the rest.
Yeah, exactly. It's stacked class. It was very much so a stacked class. Speaking of trivia, Mom Martinez, we're playing trivia later today. It is Sook's turn. He has crafted the trivia for us. We will be playing tonight, probably 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central. Be sure to just stay informed. We'll post it on Twitter a little bit later today. So come and hang out with us and play trivia on playback.
And the winner gets a mystery Canadian prize box, courtesy of
winner
me.
gets. Sook is giving one of you guys some maple syrup to your house, and we'll also give you a betting news piece of swag. All right. Sook, you have one too, right? Do you have it on a document like this or something?
Yep.
Beauty. I love this game.
Yeah, same.
All right, boys.
I told you guys, I'm addicted to ranking things. So this is just like
I think Chad is too.
The
which is great.
dopamine that's going through my body right now is just all-time high. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Let's go.
I'm ready to start my Sunday. Yeah.
Oh yeah, baby.
All right, boys.
All right.
Active NFL coaches. First one up, John Harbaugh.
That's Ravens, right?
No.
Isn't
No,
it?
John Harbaugh. No, Jim Harbaugh is I think John Harbaugh is Ravens. Jim Harbaugh is Chargers.
I mean, he's been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
John
he's
is
also been
Ravens.
fired.
Oh. Maybe 3.
Wait, 3?
I was thinking like 4 or 5.
I'm
Wait,
fine
John
with that
is
too.
John is
John?
the one that's coaching the Chargers.
No, John
Ravens.
is the Ravens.
Ravens.
Oh, then I'm comfortable with 3 or 4. Active head coaches, I could see 3 or 4.
Let's go 4.
Let's go 4.
Just down for 4.
Yeah.
So can you zoom in just a little bit, or make the text bigger? Yeah, there we go. Grazie.
All right, Jim Harbaugh.
Active head coach is Rusty.
Jim Harbaugh. He's got to be like 7.
Yeah,
I think
you gotta save room for 2 outright trash coaches, right?
Just in case.
Just
Yeah,
in
that's true.
case.
Jim's been to a Super Bowl, like I said.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking Betsky.
Let's do 7.
But he's
7?
a little unproven right now, you know.
Right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do 7.
Not
It'll be fun when they
most,
play this year.
Just like we're just like ranking them based upon our own opinions.
It's blind rankings, yeah.
Right now.
It's
All
gonna be
right,
fun
boys.
when both these teams face off this season. It's gonna be a good one.
Mike McCarthy.
Fucking 9. The worst head coach in the NFL. Tell me who's worse.
I'd say like
I'd put him
6.
at 8.
6.
I'd put him at 8.
Mike
6 is
McCarthy
interesting.
blows.
6 is interesting.
He's led a lot of winning teams. He hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs, but he's not a terrible head
Blessed
coach.
with talent. He coached, what was it, Brett Favre? Then he coached Aaron Rodgers, and then he coached Dak Prescott and this loaded Cowboys team to how many playoff wins? He doesn't to no playoff success. 1 Super Bowl, I think, with the Packers, maybe, if that. Like, dude
Just
is
one.
trash. He has been
Yeah,
the reason that this Cowboys team has not been winning any fucking playoff games. They are regular season dandies, and he's only still a head coach because Jerry Jones likes puppets in the head coaching position. He doesn't like real head coaches. If he did, he would have hired a real head coach. It's why he's fucking didn't go after Bill Belichick. Not saying that he should have at this age or whatever, but like you see so many head coaches in the NFL going in a younger direction, more knowledgeable, more youthful guys that can command the room. Like look at is it Connolly? Tim Connolly? Not Tim Connolly. In Minnesota?
Oh,
Is that-
Kevin O'Connell?
Kevin O'Connell, right? Like guys like that, guys who can command the room. Mike McCarthy is not that dude. I could rant about this for so long. I hate that guy.
Do we go 8 just in case there's somebody worse?
I can get that.
Yeah,
one.
I think you can't go 9.
There's got to be somebody. I mean, because there's one coach on here that we can put below him because he does have regular season success and he has coached to a Super Bowl. So
And a couple seasons ago, he would be higher. You know,
sure.
but now you're starting to see his true colors now.
Trash can.
Locked in?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 8. Yep.
Matt LaFleur.
Number 1 in my heart.
I'm fine with 6.
I was going to say
6?
5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not. He hasn't won. Has like barely done anything in the playoffs
Yeah.
at all.
I
And he hasn't even.
He's been.
But
to a Super
he
Bowl.
isn't outright trash.
He's been
Yeah.
to a Super Bowl. He's been to.
You guys are
multiple
killing
NFC
me right now.
championships.
You
He
want to
also
go?
just took
Do you
the
think he's
Packers
better than?
team.
You think he's better than John Harbaugh?
No, but I think like
Okay.
5. I like these young coaches that bring like new stuff to the game, but I could settle with 6. He's better than Jim Harbaugh. I could see there being 5 head coaches better than him. Even though
I could do 5. I could do 5 or 6. Either one. I'm down for either.
Betsky?
I think 6.
Let's go 6.
9, Joshua, you're crazy. You just took that Packers squad to a NFC Championship game last season. They were literally seconds or minutes from a fucking Super Bowl, and they were supposed to be bottom of their division.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right, boys. Sean
Second.
Payton.
5.
5.
Easy
He's
5.
not
All right, no, all right, hang on though. If we put him at 5, we either got to get top 3 or a shit coach. We have no room for moving around. If we leave that 5 spot open and put him at 3, we can put him at 3.
Yeah.
Leave that 5 spot open for a middle. Betsky's like, no, I don't want to do that.
There's a movie about him.
I'm not opposed to 5. I was just saying that if we put him 5, we're
right? Bountygate? Is that what it was?
So okay, one factor that's going in my head is how many more rings can these guys get, and Peyton may not get another. You know,
No.
like I want to if I'm going to be putting people ahead of him, I want those coaches to be younger on teams that are on the rise or in contention right now, or Andy Reid, and have them be able to get more rings than the people below them, right? I don't think Sean Payton's going to get there.
I don't have the game, Matt. I would totally, 100%. I'd do it right now, but I don't have it.
So 5 is baking. 5 is baking in his career thus far. But right now, if I were to rank these right now, I'd maybe put him at 9.
Sure, but then I don't think we can, just in case somebody does that shit.
I agree.
Comes, but if we put him at 3, if we put him at 5 now, the last 3 of the last 4 guys have to be top notch.
I say we put him at 5 because there's no way we get 3 crazy head coaches now, right?
I mean, we'll see what happens. Let's do 5.
I would say that we haven't had any like fantastic ones yet. Maybe John.
John's probably the only one. Yeah. All right, let's do 5.
So I think we're getting fed the slop right now, and just to make us I think Sick was trying to fool us all and put these guys too high, make us look like clowns.
All right,
we're saying no. We're saying no.
We're saying
We're
no
going
to
to fall for
clownery.
your booby traps. No.
5. Sean Payton.
All right.
All right. Sean McVay.
3.
3.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we can go 3 safely.
I would even be comfortable with 2, to be honest.
I'm feeling really good about our strategy here.
I know. It's doing all right. But we got to get some goats or a nobody. Otherwise, we're fooped.
All right. Sean McVay, 3.
Okay.
Todd Bowles.
See, got to go to 9, right?
Gotta go 9.
But then we got to
look at the class he's in, though. You know, like it's not saying. I don't want to get stuck putting Andy Reid at 9.
We can't.
It has to happen
we
this
can't.
way.
Yeah, we have to put him at 9. It must be this way. He's got to go 9.
If we get Robert Saleh,
We're about to craft the perfect list.
If we get Robert Saleh, we're fucked.
It's perfect right now. This is perfect right now.
It is perfect.
This is exactly how they should be ranked.
Okay, boys. Mike Tomlin.
Oh, I got to.
Yep.
Oh,
we gotta hope that Andy.
Yeah,
we gotta
crush this.
Unless
we have to put absolute ass at number 1.
Is it gonna be?
All right.
If it's wait, hang on.
I'll give you a hint. It's not Andy Reid.
We're getting
no. Oh no.
Then we gotta put Mike Tomlin 1 then.
Yeah.
No, we can't switch now. Sook already reviewed.
No. He didn't type it. We were still talking.
He's letting us.
We got to do Mike Tomlin.
I typed it. You guys didn't lock it in. I just typed it.
Either way, we're fucked. I know it because whoever's coming in at number 2 is ranked way too high. I can see it on Sook's diabolical face.
Bill Belichick. Don't forget Bill Belichick.
He's not an active NFL coach.
Yeah.
Oh, active. Okay.
He never retired.
Pete Carroll.
He has no team. He's not.
But he's still active. He's never retired.
I'm sorry. I
put
Tomlin over Pete Carroll any day.
True. Frank Wright.
There's probably one coach I would put above Tomlin. That's active.
And Andy Reid. When you said active, so do you mean alive or did you mean actively coaching?
I mean, they never announced their retirement and they're breathing and they're living at home, not at a retirement home.
I feel like it's going to be Belichick.
It's going to be Bill Belichick then.
Let's go Mike Tomlin, number 1.
Maybe.
I think we have to because if I don't want to look like I can't have fucking Frank Reich sitting at the top of this list.
Yep.
I'll die.
Yep.
Oh my god, we're gonna get Arthur Smith. Holy shit, Prendy.
He's not a head coach anymore.
He doesn't need to be. He just has to be alive and not retired.
breathing, and
No.
not dead.
Oh my god.
All right, dude. Let's do Tomlin at 1.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin. I just want to know who the last one is now.
It's
Mike
gonna be
Tomlin?
Belichick.
It's gonna be Belichick. Yeah.
Please, all right, I can live with this list.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it because Belichick obviously did win a shit ton of Super Bowls, but the last couple of years he really lost control of being a solid,
agree.
When you
good head
didn't
coach in the
have
NFL.
that deep ass roster, what happened, right? Tomlin
And-
wins no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree. You could make this argument, but
Arthur Smith at the end there would have really
Yeah,
just
I
been
wouldn't.
comedy.
But
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Betsky nailed it. I think you guys 100% nailed this list.
I think that this is perfect. No lie.
Yeah.
We did not talk about this previously, so I really wish you said Arthur Smith. Not bad, boys. Not
Well
bad.
done.
if you threw Arthur Smith at the end, that would have been incredible.
Oh, I'd have been so sad.
Just a goat move.
Oh, all right. Can we get some dubs in the chat for talking legitimate football? We're almost back, boys and girls. If you guys have been hanging out with us for the last year, you know that we do this show every single Sunday. So Griddy-Iron Gang is back. Excited to be talking football with you guys. We'll be back doing the show every day until the start of the regular season at 12:30 Eastern, or every Sunday, excuse me. And then when the season starts, we will be starting at 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central to get you guys rocking and rolling for the week's NFL slate. Means you guys learn about Wordle for football. Trendy,
He
you
just
are
makes us play
the game.
What
You are the game master. Jesus, dude. All right, gents, you got any final words for the kids before we hop out of here?
Somebody
fantastic.
DM me when you got Chubba Hubbard lines.
Yeah, and pop in to trivia early.
Trivia.
We'll play one of those NBA games before we start up while we wait for people to filter in or stuff.
Fuck yeah. We'll be having trivia later today, guys. Don't forget on playback. We'll post it on Twitter. Give us a follow. Go follow everybody on the screen that you saw on the show. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us right here on the Betting News Network. We appreciate you guys so much. Have a kick-ass rest of your Sunday. We appreciate the vibes as always. Football is back, baby. Football is fucking back. Go peep the scribbles, and we will catch you guys later on trivia. See you guys later. Have a great Sunday. Peace.
Love you.
What you know about rolling down in the down in the
Now I know we all be loving this shit right here.
rolling.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do now?
Down in the rolling.
What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this shit.
What you know about